Hi, everybody. It's Carol Clark here, and we are ready to get started with an insider's view of a profitable retail nutrition store in a physician's office. For anyone who doesn't know me, I am in the trenches just like you, running a busy weight loss, medical weight loss, and surgical weight loss practice here in Virginia. And I also am the CEO of Weight Loss Practice Builder, and I run Bariatric Business Boss, a monthly membership for weight loss physicians with tons of resources and trainings every single week for you and for your patients. So I just love particularly the one-on-one time I get with lots of different practices across the US. So that is great. And I want to just make sure that we stay on task here. I'll try to keep it to 30 minutes. But first of all, we want to go ahead and thank Healthwise for sponsoring this presentation today. And they have such great nutritional products. And I know they've got some new mocktails that have come out, which are a lot of fun as well. But thank you to them. We have an action-packed 30 minutes planned, so it's a lot to cover. So we're going to get right to it. And our learning objectives for today is, first of all, to list the basic ingredients for running a successful store and to identify specifically key actions that need to be done daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annually for systematized success. And I know that sounds like a lot and may seem overwhelming, but this is what makes your life that much easier. And the best thing about it is it's something that can easily be done by a motivated team member, team members, and it's one of those things that can really be profitable for you and extremely beneficial for the outcome of your patients. And then we're going to review 3 business multipliers, maybe a few more for ongoing growth in your practice. If you have questions, don't forget to type them in the chat. I will be sure to address those probably toward the end of the presentation, but if I see something come up, I will be sure to take the time to address it. So retail sales can actually be accomplished in many ways. You can start out in just a closet, or here you see a storefront. So you can have a large storefront. I know this is what we have. It's a great gathering place. It's a place where people can come in, take a look at all of your different products and make their decisions and have great conversations and provide some education, that sort of thing. Stopping here after their visit with the clinician or just coming in when they are ready to stock up again. It can be done in just an office within your practice. That's easy enough to do as well. It can start out in a closet or even remain there if that's the space that you have available, as long as it's done in a very visually appealing way and you have a team that doesn't keep it a secret and that they actually share that with those that are coming in to purchase, either as a part of your program or those that are coming in just off the street, or those that are really having some questions after they have a counseling visit with the physician or one of the dietitians or someone in your practice. You can also do this through your website or a combination of any of that. So there's so many different ways to integrate it into your office, and you can have great sales without even having a storefront. Like I say, just doing it out of a closet. I have some practices up in New York that real estate is at a premium, and so they have a storage area in the back that they've fixed up or they've got kind of just put together, but their main way of selling is just through a display case and having the boxes available empty in the on a nice display in each of the clinicians' offices when they're talking with patients. So there's so many different ways that you can accommodate this. So like I say, whether it's a storefront, in an office, in a closet, just on your website, or a combination of all, it is something that can be done very successfully. And this is how you do it. All right, so what are the basic ingredients for success? The first thing is to have delicious products that are integrated into your program. And the reason for that, obviously, is because it makes it easier for you to sell. So we go through a lot of package pricing and lots of different discussions about that, but the products, when they are related to your program, are so much easier to sell. In addition, as you're doing your education, including information about the products is really helpful so that you can make sure that you are really promoting them. You need to have a passionate team. This is one of those things that does not have to rely solely on the physician. In fact, it should not. You need to have a passionate team, and anyone who's been on my webinars before knows that having your team very familiar with your products, using them on a regular basis, trying them in various recipes is going to be very, very helpful. Consistent promotion is another one. It's something that cannot be your best kept secret. So this includes online promotion, on-site promotion, promotion with every conversation that you have with your patients, and really taking the time to make sure that they know about the products that you have, how awesome they are, how they improve patient outcomes, how they improve the ability for people to have things done in a very, to have everything packaged for them so it's very easy to use. You also need to have motivated buyers, and the way that you're going to create motivated buyers is if you make sure that they understand the benefit of the product. So if you're sharing with them a certain amount of protein that they need to get in and they're having trouble with that, of course, then you relate that right back to your product and why your product is best suited for the amount of protein that they need, for keeping their carbohydrate count low, for increasing satiety, for making it very easy to stay full and plan their day without having to do a ton of meal prep. So, and making sure they understand the benefits of it is what's going to cause them to be motivated and to keep coming back for more sales. And then finally, the other ingredient for success is to track your systems. So your system is going to be, your sales. It's going to be what products are selling best. It's going to be your whole inventory, everything like that. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty of that. So when you talk about retail revenue, this is just a sample of retail revenue that we have here. You can see over the years it has been very, very consistent. It's because of these things that we're doing daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annually. There are practices that I work with that have even better retail sales than this. This is for a solo practice office, but there's other ones with solo practitioners that can share even higher revenue amounts. And it all gets down to having this all systematized and ready to roll in your practice. So let's get to what's required daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annually. This is the nitty-gritty of setting up your system for success. So this has to be systematized. It has to be something that's easy to do for you and your team. And like I say, it's the nitty-gritty. It's sort of what I call a blueprint for success. And of course, as your systems are developed, you will always be tweaking them as you go because you're going to have new products that are available. Seasons are going to be changing. So you're going to be introducing the warm drinks versus the cold drinks, and you're going to be accenting those and making those specific to your plan. But you want to make sure that you are tweaking it as you go along, and make sure that you're tweaking it for your particular situation so it's customized to you. But this is the basics. So let's talk about what you need to be doing daily. Now this may seem second nature to you, but promotion is something that has to be done daily. So this is what we call more of a lead indicator for the lag indicators. We're going to get into that a little bit, but what you're doing daily is what's going to help show what's going to happen for you and predict and dictate what your retail sales are going to be. So when I say promote, I mean that you're highlighting products and you're sharing that on your social media pages, that you are highlighting patients utilizing your products and or your physician or your team using it, sharing what their favorite options are, sharing, how they integrate it into their day, how it makes their morning easier, how satisfying it is. So sharing that on a regular basis is going to be really important online. So that could be your social media. It also could be done through your email system. Occasionally, we'll use text messaging sporadically. What you don't want to do is be annoying, but you want to include that online in your emails, in your newsletters. Make sure that they know exactly what you have to offer and why it's unique and different. And they can't get it at any store. They can't get it at Walmart or Costco, and why it's so special and different because of the quality. So you want to be promoting it daily online and on site. So in your practice, you want to make sure that you have those posters that are available, and you want to make sure, Healthwise has some great posters that you can share and you can customize. Make sure that it's mentioned, in the back of the doors in your restrooms, in your exam treatment rooms. Make sure that you have boxes very displayed, so on site you need to be promoting that daily. When somebody comes in and says that whatever their barrier is to their weight loss success, whether it's I can't, get a system down, I don't like meal prep, all those sorts of things, that's when you integrate in exactly why your products are the best thing for them to use. Daily, you have to be selling. For us, we're not, after the pandemic, I actually don't have our store open on Saturdays anymore at the moment, but we still have sales coming in. You know, by Monday morning, I still have a few $1,000s worth of sales because we do online promotions where people can purchase and then pick up first thing of the next week. So sales daily is very important. You don't have to include the weekend. You can just do it during the day when you're there. That's adequate, but you do need to be selling daily. The next thing is you need to be listening to the wants and needs of your patient. And just a couple of examples about that is you may have somebody who comes in and says, you know, I just really want to do a body cleanse. And in your mind, you're thinking a body cleanse is not necessarily their long-term answer to weight loss, but you can utilize some of your jumpstart programs. You can talk about how when people eliminate the things that they're having and they focus on just healthy nutrition, how that does end up being sort of a body cleanse. When people come in and they talk to you about, I'm going to be traveling, I'm dreading it because I'm going to have access to all this food. That's right when you go into, well, you know, if you have these products with you, this is going to provide you with some convenience. It's going to provide you with some great nutrition so that you're not as hungry and tempted by other things. When people come in and they say, I don't know how to make a recipe for that, you have recipes already made that include some of your products. So listening to the wants and needs of your patients will help guide your actions for what you're doing daily. Some people may come in and say, I need a metabolic boost. That's what I really need. My body just doesn't seem to want to lose weight anymore now that I'm 40 or 50 or whatever the age is. So we hear all these things, but it's an easy way for you to turn around and say, you know what? Your body has its own metabolic booster within, and here's how you do that. You know, and then you talk to them about the macronutrients and decreasing their carbohydrates, making sure that they're getting in adequate amount of protein and that they're satisfied. So you can take the things that they provide to you and use those as your selling points for your sales every single day. But listening to them is really important. And then, of course, as you're doing anyhow, as people come in and want the products, you're doing order fulfillment, whether it's an online order or an on-site order. You also want to make sure that every day you're doing your end of the day sales report and your deposits for the cash that you brought in. Most of it I know is online anymore, but making sure that you have all that ready for your daily deposit is very important, and incorporating, of course, with your program sales. The other thing is being willing and ready to catch on the fly testimonials when you have your patients coming in that are having a great they're having a great experience, they're having great results. That's when you pull out your testimonial form, get their permission. You know, even if you need to, whip out your phone and get a quick video of them, or have them right there while they're there, you know, let you take a picture, have them document what it is, give them a link to your, to be able to do an online review for you. But on-the-fly testimonials will help give you sort of a backlog of great content that you can share on your social media. So being prepared to do on-the-fly testimonials on a daily basis is really important. And this is where your team comes into play, and they can be so helpful. They'll hear somebody at the scale who's giggling or they're like squealing, and they come over and they understand what exactly happened, what they've experienced, and say, you know, do you want to share that with others? And you get that testimonial right then. Or you're in a room doing counseling and they're talking about how easy this has been for them, how their amount of their appetite has been so much lower while they're on this meal plan, all that sort of thing. You know, getting that in writing and somehow getting that out there at the appropriate times is really helpful. The other thing to do daily is your own self-care, because people need to see that you also practice what you preach, but also taking the time for you to make sure that you do your own self-care for you and for your team. So this means making sure that you're getting your own fitness in, that you're doing your own meal planning, that you're doing your own meditation, journaling, whatever you do for self-care to make sure that when you get to your practice, you are there and ready to serve in the best way possible. Email me if you want, any sample testimonial forms, or if you want copies of these slides or that sort of thing. But it's Karol, Karol, at weightlosspracticebuilder.com. But I have lots of different tools for that. But these are the things that need to be done daily. And I know it sounds like a lot, but really, if you make it just a part of your everyday habit, it's just so much easier. And this is what's going to predict your long-term sales. For weekly, what you really want to do is do your product ordering. So you have par levels, you have, some people order weekly, some people decide to order monthly, whatever works best for you. Oftentimes monthly can be great because when you're ordering from like Healthwise, you can oftentimes get bulk discounts for your patients, or not for your patients, but for your practice. So whatever's going to work best for you, but making sure that you're keeping an eye on that so you're not running out of product is really important. So you want to make sure that you have your product ordering in place. For many practices, it depends on cash flow too. They may decide to do it weekly, or like I say, monthly may be an option for you as well. But weekly, you want to make sure that you're checking your product, that you have enough on hand, that you're sending a weekly email communication. For people in my Bariatric Business Boss membership, I actually create weekly tip sheets for them to share. They can take the content, send it out. It includes recipes and all of that. You want to make sure that you're sharing that. If you can, weekly, if you get those testimonials, I like to do like a Transformation Tuesday every Tuesday on our Facebook page and share it on all of our social media channels. The team puts those together. They're awesome. And then you get your success story out there every week. The more you're in front of people, especially with the algorithms out there on social media, you're never really sure where you're showing up. You want to make sure that's out there on a regular basis. And then I like to track my profit and loss, track every single week. And so what we do is I track it on my P&L sheet. I do it weekly. Actually, I've created the spreadsheet. I have one of my team members fill it out. So we monitor that weekly, and it makes rolling up your monthly results very, very simple. So doing some P&L tracking weekly, that helps you keep track of your goals, make sure where you are. So at the end of the month, you don't end up with some sort of a surprise. I think tracking is just really important. And so I like to do it weekly so that then I can keep on top of all that and make sure where we're going. And that way you have less surprises. The other weekly tips, the things that you need to be doing is your goal tracking and reporting to your team. So if you have a certain number of programs that you have set as a goal to sell that week and you haven't made that goal, then it's a matter of sharing it with your team so that you can ramp up some sales efforts, whether it's more referrals or whether it is just tracking and making sure that you're converting more people that are coming through your door. But having those weekly goals, whether you have a chart back in your break room, whether it's email that you're sending out to your team, however you're doing it, making sure that you have goal tracking and reporting to your team on a weekly basis is important as well. Weekly, I like to do my payables, and so that's just an easy way to keep up with everything. Some people just do them twice a month, but keeping up with those is another thing that has to be done with any practice or retail program. Making sure that you update your store displays and that sort of thing. So trying to make sure that you have those things updated is really important. So switch things up in your practice and make sure that you're highlighting the products that people are buying for that particular season, and then spend time with your team doing some idea generation for additional marketing, for additional sales, for getting more testimonials, for what's working really well in sales consultations. Perhaps you have one team member who's generating a lot of sales and the other one really isn't. Then you need to get together and talk about what's the best practices that the one person is doing that the other one perhaps might not be doing, and making sure that you're doing that idea generation with your team. It's really important. From a monthly perspective, you want to do a full monthly inventory at the end of the month. You want to be tracking, making sure that your computer system, your sales system inventory matches what's on the floor. If not, what are the causes for those discrepancies? You have to keep an eye out for theft. Anything retail can potentially have theft. You also want to make sure, is something not getting captured? Is something in the system entered incorrectly? And so when you're scanning that barcode, perhaps it's not relating to the correct item. You want to make sure that you've got all that in there very clearly, and you do a full inventory at the end of the month. And the other thing you want to do monthly is your financial reporting, which is basically taking your weekly reporting and rolling it up, and not just doing the financial reporting, but actually doing the interpretation that's necessary to take a look at all of your different things that you're tracking and making sure where you're looking from a financial perspective. So the next thing you want to do is make sure that you're researching new products, that you're checking in with Healthwise and that sort of thing, and make sure that you understand any new products that are coming down the pike that you can start to promote or get excited about, and also just be looking for products that would be beneficial in your particular retail store or adding into your program. You want to know what's in the news from a personal education standpoint, because oftentimes you may have, with COVID, that you were able to create lots of posts related to COVID and the fact that obesity is increasing the risk of, of disease and ultimately death from that. So really taking some of the things that are in the news, turning it into how you can help them, genuinely help them overcome that. If there's something related to diabetes in the news, hypertension, all those things that we know being overweight contributes to, making links to those and then how you can help improve their situation is really very important. So you want to make sure that you are keeping in sync with that. And then the other monthly thing is taking a look at your systems. Is there something in your sales system that's frustrating you? Is there something in your either in the computer or in the system and how people are coming through? Is there a patient flow issue that's bothering you? Do a system review monthly to make sure that you can make tweaks along the way. The other thing you need to do monthly is just planning for the next month. Planning if you're going to have, I like to, if we have a monthly special, if it's a particular product that's on sale, something like that, we want to make sure that we're planning for the next month. That also includes your social media posts. That's why I create social media calendars so that it's all already, thought out, and a lot of it's already scheduled ahead of time. We like content to be fresh, but you can do a certain amount of pre-promotion, and that relates to anything that's going on for the next month. And I know in Bariatric Business Boss, we have monthly social media calendars. It includes any, national holidays, any special days, and I've got the hashtags, everything's all in there. So you want to make sure that you're planning for the next month and that you have all that prepared for you. So you're planning adequately for the next month with regards to specials, with what your goals are, and that sort of thing. Posts we already talked about in terms of your social media. Education for patients and or team. This also goes along with what your newsletters are saying and your social media posts. Is there something you're hearing in your practice that patients particularly need to hear from an education perspective? Are we getting into the hot months and dehydration is an issue? Are we getting into the holidays and they're going to have issues with, staying on track? So what sort of education for the patients may you need and or for your team? So you may have a new team member that needs to have some additional education, but planning that monthly is really important. Like I say, also specials, if you're going to be highlighting a particular product, is very helpful. And if you want to have an event, I know this has changed with regards to COVID, but events are a great way to bring still a select number of people in-house, or even better, plan an event on your Facebook page and invite all of your patients, everyone who follows your page, to join in, whether it's a support group, whether it's a virtual, cocktail party with protein products, whether it is just a ask the physician your questions, anything like that as an event will help increase engagement. It will also help keep you out there in the forefront, encourage, you can actually interview somebody for their experience and their weight loss journey. You can have people, share your live stream. You need to make sure that you can plan plenty of things online that can be extremely effective to increase the number of patients coming through to your practice, and also those that are purchasing product. You can also do an event with perhaps a local women's group. They probably have a Facebook page. You have yours. You could go live on both pages. We've done that with local hospitals, with local women's groups, with anything like that. You can do events that you can promote and have them promote as well. And instead of doing them on site, although we all love that foot traffic into our practice, you can do those virtually and it still increases your reach and that sort of thing. If you're having an event, think about having some sort of a little giveaway. Maybe you put together a little package of products. Maybe you put together, a consultation in the office. Maybe you offer a little bit of a discount on one of your cash pay programs. Maybe you offer, a fitness or a virtual consult, something like that, or anything, but making sure that you have a little bit of a way to help increase their engagement and offer a few things is really helpful. So how about quarterly? Quarterly is something that ends up being a great planning mechanism, and so often we think this is going to take too much time and we just ignore it, but quarterly goal setting is really helpful. If you've never read the book or I'm an Audible freak. I listen to books on Audible, a couple of them a week, but the 12-week year is actually a great way to plan your year so that you can actually be attaining goals as you go along and increasing those as the year goes along. Because otherwise, people tend to have, an annual goal and then they wait and then it's this crunch at the end of the year. But the 12-week year lets you plan your quarter, which then relates back to what you're doing, just like we're talking here, daily, weekly, and monthly. And revisiting that with every 12 weeks, every quarter is really helpful. So in terms of goal setting, you need to really make sure that you're specifying a number of different areas. The first is, what's your revenue goal? What is your number of programs that you want or need to sell? You can reverse engineer it depending on what your revenue goal is. You can back that up into that. What does that mean? How many programs need to be sold? How many patient visits need to be made if you're using insurance? How much product needs to be sold? So you want to take a look at your revenue, your programs, how many jump starts you want to sell. Every time, when we get into, especially for medical weight loss, that January, February period, the April, May period, the September, October period, where it's really a push for weight loss, we have specific jumpstart goals where we're going to sell a certain number of them, and we make it a real, something that we revisit, we celebrate. But having that number that you're going to sell is really important. What's the number of referrals that you want? What's the number of testimonials that you want to gather? These are the goals that you need to set, which are then going to drive what your daily actions are. And so it will all lead into what your goals are and then communicating that to your team. And I don't recommend doing it in a vacuum. Including your team is critical. And I also don't recommend just doing things that you can attain. Make some of them some reach goals. It's just like when your kids are looking at college, you want to save, you want to, reach school. So you want to make sure that you have some reach goals in there. Making sure that quarterly you're planning those finances, that you're doing a system review, and that you're also looking for anything that needs some performance improvement. I want to talk just a little bit here about lead indicators versus lag indicators. So your lag indicators is what you're reporting after the fact. So your lag indicators are, okay, how many programs did we sell? What was our revenue? What was our profit? How many referrals did we get? Did we increase a certain number of referrals? Your lead indicators are, what are you doing to predict or dictate what those lag indicators are going to be. So your lead indicators are, how often are you posting in social media? How often is your physician going live, perhaps, if that's popular for you? Perhaps how many sales calls are you having? How many patients are being reached out to that are in your funnel that have not been converted to? It's taking a peek at what your daily actions are. How many presentations have you done this month? How many partnerships have you formed? How much promotion are you doing? So those lead indicators that you're doing every day, every week, are going to predict what your lag indicators are, which relate to your goals. So I hope that makes total sense to you, but you want to make sure that you're taking a look at that quarterly. I do not recommend waiting till annually because it's just that important. And then annually, of course, goal setting, but you're doing that actually every quarter. So for me, I don't really do that annually. I like to look at it on a shorter term basis. Granted, you can take, what I like to do annually, though, is in December, I always take a peek at what we did last year and then how it compares to the previous year. And then that will help guide what we're going to be doing the 4 quarters of the following year. So doing that comparison is really important. And you'll notice this is very similar, almost exactly, to what you're doing on a quarterly basis, but you do want to make sure you do your goal review, communicate that with your team, make sure you look at your financial reporting, compare it to the previous year, a system review, what worked really well this year, what didn't work well this year, what do you want to stop doing because it's not bringing you the impact that you'd like, and then what do you want to start doing and what needs to be improved. So not surprisingly, once again, it relates to your quarterly goals, because I like to actually be doing what a lot of people do annually on a quarterly basis, because it just makes your plan that much more fluid, that much more proactive, and it helps keep you from not attaining your goals and getting too far down the line and then realizing it at that time. So we've gone through a lot of information, really, what you're doing daily, what you're doing weekly, monthly, what you're doing quarterly and annually. And then what we really want to do is we've got all that honed in. We want to make our business multiply. So we don't want to just predict short-term growth. We want to have multipliers. So we want things that are going to actually get us to where we want to be faster. So based on experience and all the different practices I work with, the things that are going to make you different is, first of all, daring to be different. So often people will look at what's going on in their community. They just want to do the same thing. They want to kind of make it a little bit different, but they figure if they're doing it and it's working, then I'm going to do the same thing. But really, people are looking for something that's out there that's different. So you want to dare to be different. And so that means putting your personality on your whole marketing methodology. So you want to make sure that you have your vision set and that you are actually putting your own flair, own groove to it, your own personality. And this could be in the way that your practice is decorated. It could be in how you're doing your daily posts, videos that you do. It could be in the color scheme that you use, how your marketing materials look, how you speak. All those sorts of things are how you make it your own practice and your own differentiating business multiplier. The next thing is to systematize with lead team members. So one person doesn't have to take on the bulk of everything. In fact, I used to think I had to do it all. I have this awesome, phenomenal team that has been cultivated over many years, that has a lot of longevity. And what I found was as soon as I started delegating and letting them be a part of the entire process, whoa, it was like a serious business multiplier. It made it so that we were synergistic, they had ownership, and there's so many things they came up with that, took us in some different directions I might not have contemplated. So our retail sales really skyrocketed as well when I brought on somebody who had a retail background. And we all got together, we synergistically have come up with lots of different ideas. But if you systematize with lead team members, identifying who has an interest in that, and then letting them have some leeway with that, and of course, sharing it with the entire team and brainstorming is important. But that will really take what you do and really multiply it in a very remarkable way. The other thing that can be a business multiplier is to bundle some of your products. So bundling can be very effective, especially people want to do what their physician recommends for the most part. So bundling things like your vitamins, bundling your products into perhaps a fall package, bundling things into a spring package, a travel package, bundling some things together so you sell more items at one time, providing a little bit of a discount is actually something patients love. They love that you're taking some of the guesswork out of it. You put a little document in there that helps them know how to use it. And it's phenomenal. They just love bundled items, and they get to leave with something that's, attractively put together, something that their physician recommends. And bundling can be a big business multiplier because you end up selling more products at one given time. It's the same way with your services. You bundle your services together, put a price on it, and you actually end up introducing them to more things that your practice does, and it helps them continue to come back for what it is that you uniquely offer. Some other bonus business multipliers is to really know your customers. If you know what they're asking about, there's probably hundreds of other ones just like them that have the same questions. So if you listen to your customers and you know what it is they're asking for, and you actually then deliver that in a great way, it'll just multiply like crazy. The other thing is, to educate your patients. And what I mean by that is to sell the shade, not the tree. So you don't want to say, oh, I've got this awesome hot cocoa. What you want to say is, a great way to get your protein in the morning that's just delicious, or at night when you have that sweet tooth, is you can use this. It keeps you full. It's great tasting. So you educate them about the benefits of all your products and everything that you offer there that's unique from other people. And you educate them to the point where they are just so enthralled they can't wait to get their hands on it. And you also want to do some select discounts and perhaps some rewards. I caution on this because sometimes you always want to monitor what your bottom line is. And I've gotten into situations or practices I've worked with where they actually offer far too deep of discounts, and it really cuts significantly into their profit. And so they end up at more of a break-even point. So they do all this effort and they don't have the revenue or the profit necessarily to, reward them for everything. So be careful about that, but it can be a great way to attract people in and to, you sacrifice a little bit of your profit, but it's nothing that it actually ends up being more sales. So it ends up being more profit in the long run. And the next thing is to share stories. People love stories. Share stories about you as the physician. What's sort of unique? How do you make your shake in the morning? What do you do for your fitness routine? What are you doing when you're going to that party and event? How do you keep yourself on track? Share stories about how you're doing that. Your team, share what their favorite products are, share what they're up to, share, they redecorated their space, whatever it is, make sure that you share that. And most importantly, your patients, make sure that you're sharing those patient stories every single week. I know I've shared this once before, but the transformation of Joshua, this is a guy who just came into our store because he drove by and saw us, and he started using some of our Jumpstart and mini Jumpstart diets. They used them back to back, and he's lost almost 80 pounds. And it's remarkable. And so he comes in, and so of course we had to get like these, he's a pizza delivery guy, and that's how we found he was driving by often. And so he came in, shared with us, look at his belt there in the middle picture. So he gave us a pre-picture, then he gave us one as he was going through the program, and then afterwards. And this is the guy who he basically just used our product. But if you have things like that in the store and you have those transformation stories, then you can really captures people's attention, and they all want to know, well, if he did it, this proves to them. If he did it, then I can do it too. So sharing those stories is a definite business multiplier. So we've gone through a lot. We've gone through what to do daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually, business multipliers, all that sort of thing, trying to stay within this 30 minutes. I hope it's been helpful for you. I apologize for the couple of glitches there at the very beginning, but I hope it's been helpful for you so that you can see exactly how you can take your retail sales, whether it's a separate store or a closet or an office, however you're integrating it into your program, and really making that a significant profit stream for your practice, as well as something that's fun to do, something that benefits your patients and keeps them coming back over and over and over again. It's a great way to keep them engaged. As a bonus for anyone who's listening to this, who's here, I'd love to have you reach out to me, Karol, Karol, at weightlosspracticebuilder.com, and let me know if you'd like to have any of the resources that I mentioned here, particularly the social media calendar, or for anyone who actually joins Bariatric Business Boss this week, I will actually offer to you a sort of a bonus bariatric business breakthrough session. So a little bit of extended time to have a breakthrough in your business. If you're interested in that, it's just bariatricbusinessboss.com. But in the meantime, I would love to share with you any resources or the copy of these slides if you want. Just reach out to me, Karol, Karol, at weightlosspracticebuilder.com, and I'd be happy to get that off to you. And I really thank you for your time. I thank Healthwise for helping to bring this to you. And I can't wait to hear from you. I actually am blessed to get to work with practices all across the U.S. And it is so much fun for me, whether it's a specific blueprint for their practice as a one-on-one or through Bariatric Business Boss. But I am in awe of everything that you do and all the unique ways people are providing their services and just the huge impact that you're having in your community. So congrats to you, and I appreciate your time. I know you're busy, and thank you very much. And I hope you have a great day. Let me just see here if there's any questions.
Hang on a second, Mom.
They did have a virtual event and social media retail
Just
party.
finishing up with,
Leslie, we've done that on site. I have not done it online, but I am so tempted. And you're right with the new Healthwise mocktails. I think that's actually a awesome idea, and I'm going to implement that here. Also, the content calendar is great. Really helps to organize your marketing plan. Absolutely. You're welcome for the information. Thanks so much for the kind comments, and I hope you guys all have a great day. If there's something I didn't cover that you wish I covered, let me know that too. And I will do, okay. Yes, I will do that, David. All right. Okay, you guys, thanks so much. Thanks, Dr. Patel. I will talk to you guys later. Have a great day.